What's up, guys? One Koala Man here, bringing you episode number 14 of our fairy tale reviews. And if you like today's episode, be sure to smash that like button down below. Hit that subscribe button so you can see all of the content that we provide. And share it to your mama, share it to your mama's boyfriend, share it to your mama's husband, whoever your mama's with. Share it to everybody you know. And also follow me on Twitter. Link will be in the description down below. And if in case I forget to put the link in the description, it is at One Koala Man, where I put updates on what's gonna happen. Where I put post the videos on, and that's about it for the intro today. So let's get this mother underway. So we begin this episode off in the forest where we left off last episode between Lucy and Sherry, and they are about to duke it out, mano y mano. Or, I don't know what the term is for ladies, but lady against lady. And so, since Lucy figures out that Sherry can control, any living thing, she starts giving the spiel about her next celestial spirit gonna be super powerful, and and it is my favorite character of all time in fairy tale. She summons Plu, and I am so excited about her bringing out Plu. And I love Plu so much. And so, not Lucy, Sherry starts controlling Plu, and and then Plu starts attacking Lucy, and not doing anything at all. And she's like, "Oh, I can't believe I let you trick me like that." And so she she cuts out Plu's marionette magic. She stops taking over Plu. And Plu's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," but Plu can't talk, so he's like bowing down because he's sorry. So Lucy's like, "Oh, it's okay, Plu, it's okay, just go back to whatever." Oh man, that was hilarious. Seeing Plu beat up Lucy or try to beat her up. Oh man, but anyways, Sherry brings out her big weapon. She controls all these rocks, and it creates like a giant rock doll, in her words. And so this rock doll is chasing Lucy, and she falls off a cliff onto the beach, and she's like, "Uh-oh, this means I can summon Aquarius." So she comes up with an idea. So she summons Aquarius, and Aquarius is, of course, giving her, attitude like Aquarius always does. And she's like, "Stop giving me attitude, Aquarius." And she's like, "Don't get mad at me because you don't have a boyfriend." I'm like, oh man. She's always rubbing it in Lucy's face that Lucy doesn't have a boyfriend or anything. And Sherry's like, "Oh, this is a good opportunity." So she takes over Aquarius, Lucy knowing she would. And she said, Sherry says, like, "Go take her out. She's the enemy, blah, blah, blah." And Aquarius says, "I was planning on doing that anyway." So boom! She launches her water attack on Lucy, washes Lucy up, and then like this giant tidal wave is going after Sherry too. So she washes she washes Sherry up, and they're both super dizzy. So they start fighting or whatever. And Lucy pulls a WWE move. She clotheslines Sherry, and Sherry is out for the count. And I'm like, wow. And Sherry's saying, okay, she's like whispering to herself. She's like, "Come on, Angelica." And then freaking Angelica, the giant rat, comes flying out of nowhere, almost belly flops Lucy, and then Urza comes. And that's pretty much a good thing and a bad thing, because Urza is, really scary. And plus, she's super angry because Lucy's like, "Oh, thank you, Urza, for saving me." And then she just gives her like this evil look. And she's like, "Aye, oh yeah, you're mad about that." So now we're back to the village, and the village people move to a storage area that's near the village, because the village itself is freaking destroyed from Angelica's jelly, or whatever it was. But we see Gray, and he finally wakes up from, getting gut checked by Natsu. And he seems to be, kind of fine, but he's, bandaged up. So at least he's walking. So he's walking outside, and this one girl tells Gray, like, "Hey, your friends wanted to meet you in the giant tent over there." So he's like, "Okay, sorry for rubbing my eyes so much." So he goes to the giant tent, and he sees Urza sitting there. And Lucy and Happy are tied up right next to Urza, and she is mad. I mean, she doesn't fume or anything, like she's not fuming, but she's pretty mad. Like her mad is kind of like a passive aggressive kind of mad, and I'm scared for Gray. And she's saying, okay, where's Natsu at? And he's like, I thought he was with you guys. And Happy was saying like, yeah, I didn't see him like after the fight. The last time I saw Natsu he was fighting Yuka and Toby. So I don't know. If I were to guess, he'd probably be going towards the Temple of the Moon, but that's my guess. Anyways, so Urza's saying like all this spiel, like, okay, once we find Natsu, we're going back. And Gray's saying, so what, we're just gonna leave these people like this? And he's like, are you heartless or something? And that triggers something for Urza. She gets angry and she brings out her blade and puts it up to his neck. And I'm like, oh lord, Urza's gonna kill Gray. I'm just kidding. No, Urza wouldn't kill Gray. And she's saying, okay, you know, stop your big talk, whatever. And he grabs the blade from his throat and moves it to his chest and says, go ahead, do what you want. And he says, but I'm not leaving here until these people are saved. I'm like, wow. Gray actually stood up to Urza. And I'm like, either he's really brave or really stupid for doing that. But that puts Gray a few notches up on my favorites list, because he's the first person to stand up to Urza. And she got mad and he didn't care. He honestly didn't care. So he's off to save, you know, the village. And Urza looks at Lucy and Happy and they get super scared. And she just frees them because, you know, she thinks that Gray's right. So the squad is finally back together, except for Natsu. So they go out and look for Natsu. So Natsu's actually at the temple, as I said earlier. And there is a garbage truck around here, and it is annoying the heck out of me. I don't know where the heck it is. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but hold on one moment. Alright, so the truck's gone. But anyways, we're at the temple, and Natsu is saying like, okay, I came up with this plan, but I don't know why I just slept in super late. So he goes inside the temple. I don't know what he's planning on doing, because we get moved from Natsu onto Leon, and Leon is getting confronted by Toby and Zalti, who is also the Masked Man. And the Masked Man is, you know, talking about whatever. He says he wants to fight with Leon against, you know, the squad pretty much. And I don't know his magic quite yet. So, I mean, I don't know what he's willing to bring to the table, because obviously Toby is not cutting it. Okay, I don't know why he's with Leon if he's... Oh my gosh, Toby's just freaking weird, honestly. He is freaking weird. But anyways, they feel like the ground's shaking, and it's Natsu busting down the building, the temple. I'm like, of course. Of course Natsu's big plan is to destroy something. But it's actually pretty smart, honestly. So, he's destroying like one side of the temple, like all the pillars on the left side, so the temple would just tilt. Or tilt this way. And I thought it was very, very interesting, very clever plan, because the moon drip, the moonlight will shines directly onto Deliora from the top of the temple all the way down. And he says if he tilts it, it won't, you know, shine through directly at Deliora. So that's a pretty smart idea. And he comes busting out, and Leon starts to fight against Natsu. And so their battle is starting to ensue, and Natsu's trying to, you know, knock some sense into Leon, because, you know, it's stupid to revive the demon just to fight it and to defeat it, just to prove a point. So I don't know, I think that's really, really stupid. Natsu is actually proven to be a pretty big challenge to Leon, and it's honestly pretty cool what he's doing. Like, he's like doing little cool breakdance moves, like shooting fire out of his feet. It's legit. And that's pretty much the fight between Leon and Natsu as of right now. Alright, moving on from the fight inside the temple all the way to the forest, where the squad is trying to look for, you know, Natsu and whatever he's trying to do. We see Gray talking about what Ur told him not to tell Leon or something or whatever. And he's saying Ur might not be with us, but Ur is still alive. And I'm like, what? How is Ur still alive? I mean, unless she's like some old hag in the middle of a mountain range or something. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure we'll find out next episode how Ur is still alive. Alright guys, you already know I don't like to end off an episode without a question of the day. So today's question of the day was actually the hardest question for me to figure out what to talk about, because there wasn't really much to, go about with this episode. So we're kind of switching gears from anime to basketball, and it pertains to the finals between the Golden State Warriors and the Cleveland Cavaliers. So, in your opinion, who do you think is going to win the finals? Now, personally, I don't really care because I'm not a basketball fan, but it's like something big happening, I guess. So, put down in the comments who you think is going to win. My personal opinion is the Golden State Warriors, because Steph Curry is pretty much like the NBA's version of Odell Beckham. And, I mean, he's just ruthless, but, that's just me. That might be the bandwagon side of me, but I don't like the Golden State Warriors. I don't like the Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't really care. But let me know down in the comments down below. And, as always, guys, keep it cool.